Hi, this is Trey Pastor. Welcome to my review of Marvel's Avengers Endgame. Okay, this review is going to have spoilers in it, so if you haven't seen it, go look at. I have a spoiler-free review on this channel, so you want to check that video. Please check that video out before you watch this one, because I want to talk about everything in this one, and it's going to have spoilers obviously in it. Okay, this is the sequel, of course, to Infinity War, and this is probably one of my most anticipated movies of this year, obviously. And I saw it twice today. I saw it first time in the regular theater, then I saw it in IMAX 3D a little later on, and I absolutely love this movie. This is, to me, best movie of the year, hands down. It's just incredible. What a sequel. I'm going to probably be jumping all over the place with this review. I'm going to talk about my favorite things I didn't like, the sacrifices, the death, the romance, everything in between, the battles, everything. And uh, like I said, this is one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and I absolutely love this movie. And going in, we knew that some characters might die, and I think the prevailing thing was that Cap probably was number one on, if you were betting, probably in Vegas, if it were bets, and there probably was a bet on this because they bet on everything in Vegas. Cap would probably have been at the top of the list, followed by Iron Man and maybe Thor. Okay, but me going in, I thought for sure Cap was going to die, and uh, and there were a few moments in this movie where I thought he was going to buy it. He was going to buy it. There's a scene towards the end of the movie in the big battle when he's fighting Thanos, and Thanos kind of gets a couple of shots on him. And I said, "Oh God, this is where he's gonna kill Cap." I thought for sure he'd kill Cap, but he didn't. But that also led to one of my absolute favorite moments in this movie, hands down, uh, where Cap is wheeling Mjolnir. It's just I think I heard a rumor about it or something. I didn't know where I heard it from, but I had a feeling that he was going to do that. I don't know if it was a feeling. I read it somewhere, and I wanted to see it, and boy, did it not disappoint. Uh, there's a part in the movie where Thor gets Mjolnir as well as Stormbreaker, and so when they're fighting, Thanos, inevitably Thanos gets the upper hand on Thor. He's basically pushing Stormbreaker into Thor's chest. And it looks like for a minute like Thor is calling the other hammer Mjolnir, but it's actually it flies, and I think it hits Thanos first. Then it flies, then it comes and it stops. Then it flies back, and then you see who threw it, and then it's Cap, and it's Cap who catches it, and with the shield, and he looks like a total badass. Chris Evans just, oh my God, he played that. That part was so badass. I loved it the first time I saw it, and I was waiting for it to happen in the second time I saw it, and it was still badass. That to me the most badass part of the part of the movie where you see him wielding Mjolnir and he's kicking Thanos' ass with it. He's with the shield. He's using both of them, the shield and the hammer, and calling down lightning to to beat Thanos. And, oh my God, that moment was so badass. I'd absolutely love that. And like I said, I was waiting for that to happen. I thought that might happen, and it happened. And boy, did it not disappoint. And I love the look on Thor's face when Thor says, "I knew it." He's so happy for Cap that he knew Cap was worthy of wielding Mjolnir, and that was just such a great moment. And during the fight, Cap was still, even after he took on Thanos and he was fighting Thanos' army, he was still using it. It's just such a badass moment. I love that. That moment was absolutely fantastic. Of course, now another great moment to me was in the beginning of the movie where you see Iron Man or Tony Stark rather you think he's towards the end, him and Nebula are in that ship, and you see that he's making that farewell thing to message to Pepper, and you see he's kind of he knows at this point that he's gonna die, and he kind of lays down after he makes the message, and Nebula picks him up and sits him back, and so he's like sitting up, and he's sitting up, and you see he's delirious, and he's just about out of it, and you see the ship is drifting, and then all of a sudden you see this bright light, and he's kind of wincing at the light, and then you see him trying to focus, and then then you see Captain Marvel, like an angel, a glowing angel, right there to rescue her, and she's the one that ultimately rescues him and Nebula and brings them back down to the Avengers compound. And I thought that was such a nice moment. I know a lot of people wanted maybe Tony and Nebula to figure out on their own. But I didn't mind that Captain Marvel. And for those haters of Captain Marvel, of course she's not in the movie that much. She's in the movie in the beginning part of the movie when they go to get Thanos, and then towards the end she comes back for the final battle. So for those haters who hated Captain Marvel, she's not in the movie that much, but she never bothered. Brie Larson never bothered me in any event. You know, people just thought, you know, she's extra special or something, or that she's too complaining, all this stuff. Oh, please, spam the BS. I like Captain Marvel in this movie, and I thought Brie Larson did a good job. The only negative part I would say toward her character in this movie, or maybe the Russos, maybe they cut it for time. I wanted to see that reunion between Nick Fury and Captain Marvel, but you don't see it. You know, you only see that towards the end of the movie, and it's not even, they don't even have really any interaction, any speaking words to each other, which I thought was, but maybe that'll be in the extras and stuff. Maybe they cut that for time. That was my disappointment with that. Now, another fantastic moment is when the Avengers, they make the decision after they originally go back to Thanos with Captain Marvel to see if they can get him to reverse, you know, force him to reverse the snap. But they inevitably find out that he destroyed the stones. And this moment, it shocked me, but I guess it shouldn't in a way, but it did shock me when Thor cut off Thanos' head. The Avengers go to, you know, they go to his planet to find him and get them to reverse the stone, and they bust in on his little hut or wherever it is, and Captain Marvel has him in a chokehold. War Machine and the Hulkbuster army, they have him, you know, his arms like that, and they basically tell him where are the stones, and he said he basically destroyed them, and Thor takes his Stormbreaker and chops his head off. That stunned me. I wasn't expecting that, but for all Thor went through, I don't blame him. Thor, and you see that just kind of that moment when they realize that the stones are done, are useless, and they can't reverse what's happened. You just see the dejected look on the Avengers' face, and that's why Thor's reaction, I guess, it was understandable. And then after he chops his head off, you see him just kind of wander off, and just again another moment that moment stunned me. Okay, and then later, another great moment is when the Avengers, they come up with a plan to go back using, you know, the quantum realm to go back in time to get the stones to prevent, you know, Thanos from getting them, and to make their own and bring them back to the future and make their own, you know, Infinity Gauntlet and reverse the snap on their own. And there's some great moments because they split up the teams and they each go to different places. And I think it's Cap, Iron Man, Ant-Man, and the Hulk. They go back to the Battle of New York, okay, to get a couple of the different stones. And there's a great moment where Cap, basically, present-day Cap, has to fight Cap from back in 2012, and they're fighting each other. But there's a great moment where Ant-Man, where Thor, you know, so they, you know, they're trying to do all this sneakily, you know, as they come right at the end of the Battle of New York, and so they're trying to do this covertly. And at that moment, where in the first Avengers movie, where they capture Loki, and Iron Man is like sneaking around and looking at them, where the Avengers are basically going downstairs, and Tony makes a crack about about Captain America's spandex, his uniform that does his ass no favors, and Ant-Man, who's on his shoulder, basically says, don't listen to him, Cap. As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. The way Paul Rudd delivered that line was absolutely hilarious. And then that comes back into play later, because when Cap, our present-day Cap, gets the you know, he gets the scepter, and he tricks Hydra into. There's a great moment where he tricks, you know, when they get the scepter, you know, people, the Shield members, who we think are Shield, but were actually Hydra, which we find out later in Winter Soldier. You know, they're going down in the elevator, and he stops. President Cap stops back and gets on the elevator and basically says, "I need to take the scepter because the director said he wants me to take charge because he thinks someone's going to steal it." And then they go, "No, we can't give it to you, Cap. We can't do that." And then Cap whispers to the guy, "Hail Hydra." So then they think Cap is involved with it, because you think that he's getting ready to have another fight when especially a call back to that great elevator fight he had in the first. In Captain America Winter Soldier, but he plays it more smart, more smart, by saying, Hail Hydra. They think he's down with them, so they willingly give him the scepter, and he takes that and he goes off. But then he gets confronted by the 2012 Captain America, and they inevitably fight, and it's a great fight sequence where they're fighting back and forth, and the 2012 Cap is getting the better of our present day Cap until he mentions Bucky, which I thought was a great smart thing and the thing to do. He goes, Bucky's alive, and then it pauses 2012 Captain America for a moment, and when he takes the scepter and he and he freezes him, and freezes 2012 Captain America, and then Captain America is getting ready to go off with the scepter, and he looks at the passed out 2012 Captain America. He looks at his ass and goes, "You know what? That really is America's ass." So I thought that was absolutely hilarious. I'm sorry, that those two moments were absolutely, everybody in the movie theater started cracking up. Anyway, I think it's the Tesseract, right? They lose one of the stones, and Cap and Iron Man have to basically, they have to go back. They have to actually use, they have when they go back in time, they only have one gauntlet. No, one I forgot what they call that, to go back for one trip. They only got enough power to go make one round trip. So if they deviate and stuff, they'll be stuck in the past or whatever. So with them losing, with Tony losing the gem that he was supposed to get, him and Cap come up with a plan to go further up in time, go further back in time to a time where they can get two of the stones at the same time. And that's when we have a great moment where Tony gets them, they go back to this secret shield base, and they have this, Tony inevitably runs into his father. And there's just a great bonding moment between Tony and his father. His father doesn't know who he is, but, they're having this, when Tony steals the one gem back, the one stone back, and him and his father inevitably walks in, and they kind of walk and talk, and they have this bonding moment, and where, Howard Stark is explaining how he's about to become a father and all this stuff, and you see that Tony, they have a great bonding moment. I thought that one was really good. He having this moment with his father, and that was another great moment. And then another little great moment was when Cap, who's also back there with him, when he's looking for the other one, he sees Peggy Carter there, and he kind of spies on her secretly, and he sees her. And you could just tell that moment was just, I love Haley Atwell. And it's a shame they canceled that show after 2 seasons. I love Peggy Carter. But anyway, that part got to me again. And that was just another great emotional moment where Cap sees her, as she's going about her daily, routine, and he's like spying on her and stuff. And you can tell that just got to him. And that was just, and another great moment is when we actually, after the 5 years has passed, when we see when they come up with this, the theory to go back in time travel, they need a big brain to do it, and Tony turns them down. So they actually have to go. They go to Bruce Banner, and then we find out that's when we see. I forgot what the official name is. We see Smart Hulk. I guess that's what we call him. I guess Smart Hulk. There's a name which I can't remember it now. Smart Hulk, where you see. Bruce Banner is in fully control of the Hulk, and he's actually wearing clothes and glasses. Professor Hulk, that's what I'm saying. Professor Hulk, I think that's what his name is. And he said, he basically, they don't show you, which is kind of, but this movie has a lot of things in it. So, but I would have loved to have seen how he came up, because he kind of explains to Ant-Man and Cap and Black Widow how he became Professor Hulk. That he said that he kept fighting it, but he kept looking as the Hulk as a disease, but then he learned to embrace it and stuff. So now he's like the Hulk with Bruce Banner's brain. And I thought that was really great. And it's a great moment in the restaurant where kids are coming by and they want a picture with the Hulk, and Ant-Man take the picture. And then Ant-Man says, all right, man, and the kids are looking at him like they don't know who the hell he is. And the Hulk is saying, "Go on, take the picture, take the picture, take the picture." He said, and then Ant-Man is fine. Said, "You know what? Take the fucking camera, take the camera." Okay, that's again another funny moment in this. A lot of good comedic moments in this, besides the absolute serious moments in this movie. And another great moment in this movie is when Nebula and War Machine go back, and when they go back, to get their stone, and they actually run into, well, they don't run into it directly. They run into Thanos, past Thanos, Gamora, and Nebula, and that Nebula from the past, she starts glitching, and then that's how Thanos finds out that the people are back there trying to get the stones because he's able to because the past Nebula and the current Nebula, they're sharing the same memories, and that's how Thanos finds out that the Avengers are trying to get the stones before he does, and that's when he finds out that that he got his that he actually did the snap, and the Avengers chopped his head off and stuff, and so he comes up with this genius plan to basically plant Nebula there as a spy, his Nebula as a spy with the Avengers, and again showing another smart moment by Thanos in this movie, and as a villain, like I said, he is the smartest to me, the smartest well, not the smartest, but the best MCU villain by far. Again, just because the character is so cunning and inevitable, and just always thinks that he's right, and that's I think some of the scariest villains that think that what they're doing, that they're justified in what they do, and boy, Thanos has it in spades. Anyway, another great moment is more my personal moment, I guess, when you see they actually, the Avengers go to Tony when they come up with the quantum realm plan. But before they get there, you see Tony bonding with his daughter. You see him playing with his daughter, and you see that she's found the mask that he's made, the rescue armor that he's made for Pepper that he wants to give her for their anniversary, and his daughter is wearing it, and they have a nice little father-daughter, and I thought the little girl that played his daughter was so cute and so so precious, and you get to see that Tony's happy. He has a family and he's enjoying and living life, and I thought that was a nice, sweet moment to show that, of course, which contrasts with what happens later in the movie, which I'll get to. And but what I guess the first shocking thing to me was, I think the first shocking thing to me was when Thor cut off Thanos' head. But the second thing that really shocked me, really got to me, and I didn't think about this until I remembered when they got there, when Hawkeye, or AKA Ronan, and Black Widow, they go back. They're part of a team. Their mission is to get the Soul Stone, and I didn't think about it until I saw them on the planet. And I said, "Oh crap!" And then I remembered, that to get the Soul Stone, you have to sacrifice somebody you love. And then I said, "Oh crap!" And then you see Black Widow and Hawkeye. They actually find out from the Red Skull that to get the Soul Stone, you have to sacrifice somebody you love, and you see them arguing back and forth, and you see it inevitably they're fighting each other to try to get this, to make to see who would get to make the sacrifice. And I didn't expect Black Widow to die. She, like I said, they fight each other to be the one to do the great sacrifice, but inevitably Black Widow is the one that actually she falls to her death, and that really surprised me that she died, and really I said, oh geez, like I said, I didn't think about it until you actually saw them on that planet. I said, oh Jesus Christ, yep, somebody has to die. And I don't know why the Avengers didn't know that, although I'm trying to think, did Nebula know that? Yeah, she had to know that, right? Yeah, because I think she even mentions it. But I think she mentions it later. But I don't know why she wouldn't mention that to them. That if you're gonna get the Soul Stone, somebody has to die. So I guess that's. But her dying, Black Widow sacrificing herself for the greater good, that really stunned me. I said, oh my God, that killed me. That she killed herself. But like I said, I don't see any other way how they could have got the Soul Stone, because that's what you have to do. And I thought for a moment it might be Hawkeye, but then I thought, well, no, he's having this big arc, this big arc of him losing his family, which was the very first scene in the movie, his family getting dusted, to when he comes around, he becomes Ronin, and then he comes around, so he has to have the inevitable reunion. And then that's when I thought, oh crap, yeah, it's got to be Natasha, And sure enough, and that really got to me that she sacrificed herself. I said, Jesus, that stunned me that she sacrificed herself. But that was the only way, and I wasn't expecting that. So I know inevitably they'll Black Widow's going to have a movie, but of course it'll probably, of course it'll be a prequel, probably just, to show you how she became Black Widow, and Hawkeye will probably be in that. But that really stunned me that and then when everybody came back and they asked about where's Natasha, I just, you see Bruce falls to his knee and bang on the thing, and then later you see him throw a bench and just, and the devastation on Clint's face just said it all. Just that really stunned me that Black Widow died. I was not expecting that. That death really stunned me and really got to me. I said, oh my, that was, that was that. Anyway, and I know I talked about Thor, I think, a little bit, but Thor, like I said, after the events of after he chopped off Thanos' head, and he basically became like the Big Lebowski, and he was all, but he came back towards that final battle oh yeah, I'm jumping ahead, but after inevitably they get all the stones and they make their own gauntlet, and they have debating who's going to do it, and Thor kind of pleads to do it himself, that he kind of wants to, but they realize that he's not in the best frame of mind and stuff, so inevitably the Hulk is going to do it, and the Hulk does it, and he does pull the snap. And then the first inkling that it's two inklings that that it worked. You see a phone buzzing and buzzing, and then you see Hawkeye and his wife calling. So it worked. His wife, the family is back. And then you see Ant-Man go out, Scott Lang, and he's looking, and he sees birds flying and chirping and around. And then absolutely, bop. And oh yeah, that's why this is one of the great moments where after the Hulk snaps and you see him laying down, and the Avengers are taking care of him, and he's like looking up through the glass thing, opening up the sky, and you see Thanos' ship come in because the past Nebula took over for the current Nebula, and she basically opens up the time portal so Thanos could come in with his army and Gamora, and you see the Hulk looking up after he's used the gauntlet. He's looking up, and he sees the missiles coming raining into the Avengers compound, but before he can even say anything, everything starts exploding left and right, and that was just like devastation. Like I said, in the midst of all that snap working, Thanos basically rained fire down on the event, basically just obliterating the whole Avengers compound, and that was an intense moment. That was again one of the more intense moments, and you see the Avengers are basically, some of them are trapped and stuck, and inevitably it's Cap, Iron Man, and Thor that confront Thanos, and that's when you see Thor, he kind of tightens up a bit, when they get ready to have that big confrontation. So you have the original three getting ready to confront Thanos. Whew. And then one of the best moments, like I said, again, another great moment, like I said, after they're battling Thanos back and forth, and Thanos kind of gets the upper hand, and you see him, he literally, it's like shatters Cap's shield, and you see Cap still, Cap fights it, and he still gets up, and Thanos basically makes this great, speech saying that, normally that he take no pleasure in taking over the world and stuff, but he said he's going to take a lot of pleasure in taking over this one, and destroying everything, and then you hear Cap, I think it's Sam is the first voice he hears, Sam says, Cap, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Cap, Cap, on your left. Remember, that was from the Winter Soldier, when they kept running around the reservoir. He said, on your left, and then you see all these portals open up, left and right. And I think the first people out are Shuri, Black Panther, and his bodyguard, which I can't ever remember her name. Curry, right? So I can't remember her name anyway. Shuri, Black Panther, and his bodyguard, and they give Cap, this knowing look. Black Panther gives him this knowing look, and then you see all these other portals start opening up, and you see all the other people that snap come through, and then of course the biggest cheer was when Spider-Man came through and he landed down there. That was just absolutely fantastic. That was one of those great moments, and we see Thanos' army on one side, and then you see all, the Avengers. You see Wakandans, you see Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, everybody on the other side, and Cap gives that inevitable yell that everybody's been waiting to hear him say, "Avengers assemble," and they go at it. That was just a great moment. Just Avengers assemble. Everybody's been waiting for that to happen forever, and it happened. Now, another moment that, like I said, I was expecting Cap to die. I really was expecting him to die. I thought they were gonna have him make the ultimate sacrifice, but inevitably he's not the one that died. It was actually Iron Man that made the sacrifice. Basically, during the midst of that battle, everybody's fighting back and forth, and they're trying to get the Infinity Gauntlet away from the new one that they formed, get it away from Thanos, and he's battling back and forth, and it's passing from Black Panther to Spider-Man to just everywhere. It's bouncing around, and inevitably Thanos gets it, and Iron Man jumps on him, and then he's kind of back swats Iron Man away, and then he actually snaps, and I said, "Oh crap!" But then nothing happens. He snapped, and nothing happens, and then you see Iron Man took all the gems out of it, and you see him on his fist. He has all the gems, and they kind of form to a new Infinity Gauntlet. And he goes, "And I am Iron Man," and then he snaps, and boom! Then all of a sudden you see all Thanos' army starts to disintegrate. All his people on his side, they just start disintegrating left and right, left and right, left and right. And then you see Thanos himself, like he realizes that he's lost, and then he sits down, and you see him slowly start to disintegrate. And then we think, okay, this is over. Okay, the good guys have won. And then we see, I think it's Rhodey is the one that sees him first. You see Iron Man sitting down there, and you see, and then I remembered what happened before. When Thanos used the stones for the second time, he almost killed himself. And then when the Hulk used the Infinity Stones for his snap, it almost, it charred his arm, but he was strong enough to withstand it. But Tony's just a regular human, and you can see that part of this whole, like, I guess his right side was just absolutely fried. And you see War Machine go up to him, and it looks like he doesn't even know that he's there. And then you see Iron Man swinging, Spider-Man swinging, and he's calling Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark, and again, it's just, and he was just breaking my heart saying, "Mr. Stark," and you see him start breaking down and crying, and then Pepper inevitably comes in, and she grabs Tony's face and said, "Tony, focus, look at me. You did it. You did it." And you see, for a moment, he has a quick recognition of Pepper, and then she tells him that he can rest, and then he dies, and you see the arch reactor in his chest, the light just goes out, and I said, and I thought for sure they wouldn't kill Iron Man just because they introduced his cute little daughter in this movie, and he had that great bonding moment with his father, but it wasn't meant to be, and he was the one that wound up dying, which really, that was such an emotional scene. And they had this great little funeral ceremony by his house where he lived, and it was just really sad. You see everybody there, paying tribute to him, and it really was an emotional moment. Like I said, I didn't expect Iron Man to die that way. I really thought once they gave him that little daughter that he wouldn't die. That I thought for sure that it would be Cap to make this, would be the one to die. But Iron Man dying the way he did, basically, stopping Thanos' army. That was emotional. I wasn't expecting that, and that was really an emotional moment. That just really hit all the feels there. And Peter Parker just breaking down. That was just, and then when they had that thing, you see War Machine, Rhodey sitting up there, and you see that tear coming down his eye. I said, that just killed me that Iron Man made the sacrifice, that he died. That really, even thinking about it now, is making me kind of, whew, that that was rough that he died. I kind of hated that. Like I said, I know for some reason I didn't want any of the original three to die. I just wanted them to go off, retire from the Avengers and go off, live their life, and then come back if they needed them from time to time. But I realized the, theatrically, you have to have somebody die just to make that big sacrifice. And maybe Tony's arc, where he actually came to understand his father and stuff and bond with his father, basically based on his experience of being a father, and he bonded with his father. Uh, that just made his sacrifice even more meaningful, and uh, that just really hit all the feels. And and then Captain America, like I said, I thought that he for sure was going to die, but what his mission was towards the end of the movie, which I really loved, was he was going to go back in time and and restore all the Infinity Stones just before they tuck them, so that way it keeps the timeline, you know, pure. But you see him go back, and they say, okay, it's going to be like, however long it takes for you, but to us it's going to be like 5 seconds. And the Hulk, Professor Hulk counts down, and you see Bucky and Sam there where Cap goes, and he goes through and he vanishes, and then they supposed to bring him back, and then you don't see him. He doesn't come back. So Sam is panicking. He's yelling at Professor Hulk, get him back, get him back. And then you see Bucky look at him and say, look over there, and you see an older guy sitting on a bench, and you see Sam go over to him, and you see it's Steve, except it's old man Steve, and who basically explains to Sam that he actually went back and returned all the stones. Then he thought, you know what, I'm gonna get some of that life that Tony used to always tell me to get, and he stayed back and actually lived with Peggy, and he lived a good life, and you can tell by the satisfied look on his face, and Sam has a big smile on his face, and eventually old man Cap pulls out the shield and he gives it to Sam and says, listen. And Sam doesn't feel worthy, but he said, yeah, you're a good man, and he gives it to him. So as far as I know, going forward, Sam's going to be the new Captain America. And I know some people don't like. Some people wanted the Winter Soldier to be Captain America, the new Captain America. So I think that happened in the comics. And I know in the comics, Black Falcon does become Captain America going forward. But I had no problem with it. Like I said, Sam and Cap, and Steve were, they were it was besties. I know even, Bucky and him were super tight, but I think it makes sense that he gives it to Sam just because the Winter Soldier has a lot of baggage with him, even though it was his fault. He has a lot of baggage going forward, so I don't know how people would react to him being Captain America. So it kind of makes sense for him to give it to Sam, and I definitely want to see how they proceed with that going forward. I know that it's supposed to be a series on the Disney streaming service of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They're gonna have their own series together, those two characters. So I wonder if that's gonna play into that series of him becoming the new Captain America, and so it'll be Captain America really and the Winter Soldier together. So I definitely want to see how that plays. But I thought that was a great moment. That Cap got to reach, he got to live his life. He got to have that moment and live a nice long life with Peggy, because that's how the movie ends. And I thought that's really great, beautiful how it ends, because they show when I think Sam asked him, "Want to tell me?" Because he sees the ring on his finger. He says, "You want to tell me who that was?" And he says, "No, I don't think so," with a big grin on his face. And then you see when they go back in time, and you see him dancing, finally getting that dance with Peggy, and they're in a house having that dance playing that 1940s music, and they kiss, and that's how the movie ends. And I thought that was the perfect way to end. Cap, the man out of time, finally gets his happy ending, and I thought that was great. And there's one other moment I think I want to mention. When they're passing the Infinity Gauntlet around, the new one, like a hot potato. I think Clint gives it to Black Panther. Black Panther gives it to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man never gets knocked down. And now they're gonna give it to Captain Marvel and to have her try to get to Ant-Man so he can get rid of it. But you see, Spider-Man, I think he asked Captain Marvel, said, I don't wonder how you're gonna get through. And then you see Black Panther's bodyguard step up, and she said she's gonna have help. And you see her, you see the Wasp, you see Scarlet Witch, and you see who else? Nebula and Gamora, all looking badass, like complete badasses. I thought that was nice sweet touch to them to have that. And speaking of Scarlet Witch, there's a great moment where she comes back and she tells Thanos act like he doesn't even remember who she is, and she says, "Well, you are gonna remember." And she literally unleashes her full power on him, and she's kicking his behind for a long time. And I think what stops it is that Thanos gives the order to have his ship rain down fire, even though it's gonna, shoot and kill their men as well. But he does that out of desperation because Scarlet Witch was kicking his behind. She was really unleashing. Wanda was, because she said, "You cost me everything," and she unleashed every holy hell on him. And I thought that was absolutely beautiful. Elizabeth Olsen was a total badass in that scene. I love that. Now, but the things I didn't like in this movie, first, the Vision not coming back. I understand because the Vision, that's it. That was the Mind Stone, right? The Vision, right? So you can't really rebuild Vision unless you come up with another way to give him a power source, because that's how he was powered, right? By the Mind Stone. So, but I still would have liked to see, the Vision. Maybe afterward, maybe somebody would have helped. Maybe the Hulk, Professor Hulk, would have helped rebuild him, and that way, then Wanda could have got her, her reunion with him. But I know there's supposed to be a streaming source. I think Scarlet Witch and the Vision. I think that's the series, right? So he's gonna come back inevitably. But I didn't like that he wasn't in this movie at all. And I also didn't like that the Hulk didn't get his revenge fight against Thanos. I was really looking forward to. I was hoping that he would have a revenge fight against Thanos, but he didn't get that moment, which I really, really wanted to see, especially after what happened in Infinity War. I wanted to see the Hulk get his revenge, and in a fight and beat the living crap out of Thanos. But that wasn't meant to be. But anyway, now what else? Okay, let's say. I don't think anything else that I didn't like. Oh yeah, well, I didn't like Black Widow dying, but I understand, so I understand what that was. I'm trying to think what else. I talked about Thor, talked about Iron Man, talked about Cap, uh, Black Widow. Okay, who else? Okay, I think I got Thanos, who I think is a great villain, and Thor, of course. And like I said, at the end of the movie, so basically at the end of the movie, you got the original Avengers basically going its own way. Think about it. Iron Man died. Cap, basically, he's old man Cap now, so he's technically out of the game now. Thor went off with the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is another great moment. He had another funny moment with Star-Lord about who's in command. But so he's off with the Guardians. So right, Black Widow died. Professor Hulk looks like he's retired, but he may stick around. You never know, right? And Hawkeye looks like he's retired with his family. So the only real active Avenger really is Thor, but he's with the Guardians. He's off with the Guardians, and the Hulk is still on Earth now, but he's Professor Hulk. So who knows if he's going to be an active member of the Avengers or not? But we shall see. Anyway, I think that's about it. I think that about covers everything in the movie, I think, that I liked. Okay, and I talked about what I didn't like. I liked no Vision, no Hulk revenge fight. What else? I didn't like. Well, I didn't like Black Widow dying, but I understand why they did it. So I don't know. I still hate it though. And I was expecting somebody from the big three to die. All three of them, two of them, or one of them. Even if I would have bet money if you just stuck a gun to my head that it was going to be Captain America. But it wasn't him. It was Iron Man, and really stunned me because I thought after he had his kid, they showed him bonding with the kid and the bonding with his father, that he wouldn't bite the bullet. But he made the ultimate sacrifice, and using that snap to get rid of Thanos' army and destroy him. And in the fight, he died a hero. And That's all you can want for your heroes. Woo! Okay, thank you. I've been talking for 40 minutes. Anyway, that's it. But I wanted to get everything in there, which I think I did. And MCU going forward. Now, inevitably, I guess there's going to be another Avengers movie, and of course, the Avengers will be totally different now, since basically I think the only one that may stick around, maybe because he's still on Earth, is Professor Hulk. Maybe he'll be the scientific consultant for them. But you got a new team. You got Black Panther, you got Ant-Man and the Wasp. If you want to put them in there together, you got Scarlet Witch. If they bring the Vision back, which I think they are, got him. Again, like I said, Hawkeye's Captain Marvel, right? I think that's 6. And I don't know. It could be, and what you call it is Sam is the new Black Captain America. So that's 7 right there. There's 7 new characters going forth right there. But I wonder if they're going to do that or not. You know, when the next Avengers movie is going to come out, and who exactly is going to be on the team. That's what I'm waiting to see. But going forward, they should be. Oh yeah, Doctor Strange too. He could be an Avenger, even though technically in the comics he was a Defender, but he could be an Avenger as well. So you got a lot of possibilities. So I would love to see who's going to be on the next team. Anyway, let me know what you think of Avengers Endgame. If you've seen it, what do you think of it? Feel free to leave those comments down below because I spoiled everything as much as I wanted to in there. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you think it's the best movie of the year. I definitely think it is. I have links to my social media in the description box, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I also have a link to my other channel, Paul's Views and Opinions, so you check that out as well. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.